Hello, and welcome to another Use IP video. In this week's video, we'll be looking at 5 reasons why trying to save money by buying cheaper brands instead of the professional products we sell will just leave you feeling disappointed. It may seem like a very obvious thing to say that the more money you spend, the better product you get, but for customers venturing into IP cameras for the first time, they will be understandably wary of investing hundreds of pounds in a single camera, especially when they can find a whole kit on Amazon or eBay that not only looks similar but costs a lot less. So today in this video we're going to be looking at the 5 big problems with buying cheap and why these problems are not an issue for the professional products we sell. Now all of that is out of the way, let's get straight on with problem number 1. Support. Now this is a really important one to us because technical support is something we really pride ourselves on and are always trying to improve. But when it comes to the support offered by a lot of the cheaper commercial brands, the phrase room for improvement would be an understatement. At best, you'll be able to send an email or call a support line, but if your problem isn't on their short list of frequently asked questions, don't expect a fast response. And at worst, some brands will have no way of contacting them for support. What usually happens next in these situations is that out of desperation for an answer, the customer will come to us for help. But our stance has always been, if the customer didn't buy the product from us, and if the product they're asking about is a brand that we do not stock, then we cannot help. Another problem to do with support that has become more prevalent recently has been the unauthorised sale of professional products by third parties through sites like Amazon and eBay. To try and reduce the number of people buying their products this way, most professional IP brands will now no longer offer technical support unless you can prove that your camera was bought through an authorised channel such as us. So, just as a warning to anyone thinking of buying an IP product this way, if you're a beginner, you're likely going to be left with a camera that you can't use properly. And there's also a good chance, even if you know what you're doing, that you won't be able to get these cameras up and running because some of these unofficial products are not configured for the UK and European market. Problem 2. Reliability and build quality. Now, both of these problems are related because build quality is where a lot of these cheaper brands try to cut costs and by doing so can compromise the performance of the device. Reliability is one of the most crucial things when it comes to security cameras. Because if you're using them to protect your home or work and you don't check them that often, you don't want them failing and that then going unnoticed until something happens where you really need them to be working. Now, cameras failing isn't just a problem for cheap cameras, it can happen to any device, but it's for this very reason that manufacturers put warranties on their products. So, because of the high failure rate of a lot of cheaper brands of camera, you would expect them to have very good warranties, but for most cheap brands, you're unlikely to get more than 1 year of warranty. And it's likely said 1 year warranty will have plenty of small print as to what constitutes a replaceable failure. Now, compare this to professional brands like Axis and Hikvision, most of which have an average warranty of about 3 years, and in almost all cases these will be full warranties that will allow you to get a full camera replacement if yours fails within the warranty. And going back to build quality, all professional IP brands construct their products to the highest standards using the best materials available for the price range of your cameras. They go this extra mile because they know their cameras cost a lot of money and they know you, the customer, will be less than pleased if your £500 camera failed. Which is why they put so much effort into quality assurance and making sure you get the best warranty possible. Problem number 3. Latest technology. IP camera technology is changing fast. In less than 10 years we've gone from 1.3 and 2 megapixel cameras to now having 4K cameras available with higher resolutions in the pipeline. Again, this is why the professional brands cost that little bit extra, because they're spending their money on research and development to keep their IP products at the forefront of IP technology. It doesn't make sense to us for a customer, yes, to spend less on a camera, but get a product that is more than likely technologically out of date. Instead, if you go for a professional brand like Hikvision and buy a 4 megapixel camera for around £250, you'll be getting a camera with all the latest features that will last you a good few years until the next large technology shift. Problem 4. Compatibility and functionality. Compatibility is essential to IP cameras. It's not only the reason that your camera works with other IP cameras and software, but it's also the reason that your IP camera works in your country. This is because each global region a brand sells their cameras in has their own technology standards. Which brings us to something called grey imports. These are cameras bought directly from country of manufacture and then imported to somewhere like the UK and then sold online through unauthorised resellers via marketplace sites like Amazon and eBay. This often means that they are selling one region's cameras in another region. This means that there's a high chance that 1, the cameras won't set up at all, or 2, if the cameras do set up, they will be lacking key functionality. Now, functionality is what separates a great camera from a terrible camera, because it's all about the user interacting with the new technology and how easy or hard that is. It's also the reason that customers are drawn to the more commercial products, expecting something that is just plug and go. And that's absolutely the case, but in simplifying the control of the cameras, these cheap brands also cut out a lot of extra features that more often than not come as standard for professional cameras. And to us, it seems silly to choose a cheap brand for its quick setup and to save a small amount in price when you're going to be losing access to features that might be really useful to your situation. And now finally we come to problem number 5. Customer satisfaction and buyer's remorse. This is probably the problem that is easiest to explain and just sums our whole argument up. Cheap brands are short-term satisfaction, while professional brands are long-term satisfaction. Now, this simplification isn't just made up out of thin air, we can back it up with our own evidence. Out of nearing on 400 customer reviews, we have a 99% 4 to 5 star customer satisfaction rating. And these ratings come from a range of customers, some who are buying IP cameras for the first time, others who were returning customers, and some who had needed lots of technical support. Clearly this means those 99% were happy with the product they got, even if it meant they had to spend more. On the other hand, we see the disgruntled Amazon and eBay buyers all the time, complaining that their cheap grey import cameras won't work with their cheap, obscure MVR. In the end, it's obvious which customers come out happier, and for the customers buying cheap, they end up in a situation with the choice of one of 2 options. Buy more cheap cameras and have problems with those as well, or buy from us and end up spending more because of the cheap broken cameras you already have. So to us, we can't see any way that cheap brands make sense, as in some shape or form they're going to cost you as much as a camera we sell in the long run. And now with the introduction of ranges like EasyViz that bring the price closer to the cheap brands whilst maintaining the quality of the professional product, there are no excuses. Thank you for watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do by clicking down here. Check the description below for links to our Facebook, Twitter and Google Plus feeds. Follow the link here for our web shop, and if you want more videos like this, check out the playlist up here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.